The 17 millimeter for the caliper bolts. Sure is about time. Previous owner didn't really care about the rear brakes. Okay, so for one of the top 17 millimeter bolts, I had to push with a pry bar on the head while I unloosened the head of the bolt to finally come out and release, because it's so dry and gunked up. Okay, so once you remove the top part of the caliper, inspect for leaks, obviously, but since it's Toyota, you hardly ever have any problems there. Go ahead and remove your pads. Man, these things are super dry. It's like nothing left. Shit. It's crazy. So you could do this part with power tools. Just get a nice swivel socket in there with an extension and lie on your back. I'm sure like 90% of you already know the pipe method, but for those that don't, here we go. Cool, so just set that aside, the caliper bracket and the caliper with the piston, just put it on top, or you can bungee cord it, whatever you feel comfortable with. Now we can take the hat off, and then these shoes are actually not that bad. So I'm gonna go check the new ones and see what the thickness is in difference in thickness, sorry. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get in here and take off these shoes. First we're gonna remove the top two springs and then the bottom spring. And then if you don't want to have dust all over the place, you can use a product like Molecule. It's kind of pricey, otherwise you can just use a spray bottle. Okay, so I just ended up adjusting my spider gear to bring the shoes back out. So this is the maximum adjustment, and there's still some meat on there. It's like the minimal amount, but I'm gonna just send it because I'm trying to save some money here. But if you guys want to if you do want to change the shoes, you have to rotate this hub to face the little springs that are back here. Got a cap so you can take them off. And obviously it has the pin back here, way back here. So it's kind of a pain. It takes a few hours. But yeah, I'm going to just change the pads and then send it. Okay, so I changed my mind. I'm just going to change the rotor as well. And then I'll cut these up and then paint these centers black. And then I'm pretty sure most of you know, but you're supposed to clean the oil coating that's on the surface mainly. Non-chlorinated brake cleaner. I use Lucas because that's priced pretty good. And then don't forget to clean the back. You should be wearing safety goggles when you do this, and a respirator. So some people like to clean and sand this area or wire brush it before putting the hat on, but these are direct fit with a light tap of a rubber mallet. You'll see it right in. The clamp using a C-clamp, not these like most people use, to compress the piston. Okay, so I'm using my shitty camera and no tripod. It's kind of hard for me to do with one hand. Whoops, went the wrong way. And then you could also use C-clamp vice grips, which is much faster. I'm just too lazy to go get up and get them out of my toolbox, my other toolbox. Don't forget to clean this caliper as well. Okay, so my Ray Bestos kit came with an assortment of different style clips, and what I did is just take one off, match one, put it on one by one. And then in case you've never done this before, the hardware has the curl sided going up on the outside, not on the inside, because it'll fuck up your rotor. Sorry, screw up your rotor. So yeah, just make sure those outward hooks on the clips, make sure they're on the outside. Okay, so after you put your brand new clips in there, hold the pads, you're gonna clean up these guides as much as you can, and then grease these bad boys up. So yeah, once they're all lubed up, you just want that, a nice springy return. And then you always want to make sure you have clearance in between the clips and the rotor, because the rotor is brand new. So you can put lug nuts to center the rotor. Come on, camera. And then obviously torque these 17mm bolts to the appropriate torque settings. I'll go ahead and put the correct torque settings in the description below for you guys. Yeah, so make sure you torque these down. I can't remember the torque setting off the top of my head, but I'll put them in the description below. But that looks much better than it did before. So yeah, bro, same thing on the other side. So yeah, like I said, pipe method works wonders. Yeah, so ideally it's not supposed to be hard to take off like this. It's supposed to be smooth. Not the end of the world, but clean it up, get all the grime and debris off, and then lube it up like we did on the other side. So yeah, I just took it for a test drive per side. That way if you hear a noise, you know which side it came from. And I stuck a little bit of fluid out, but just keep an eye, make sure it doesn't overflow when you compress the piston. And this is the tool that I was talking about. It was too lazy to get for the other side, but yeah, basically it just goes right in here. I gotta move the camera. Once you have it adjusted with this threaded screw, you can go ahead and apply force. You might need two hands. Same thing, guys. I don't think I need to go over this. Just 4 17mm bolts total. And yeah, just make sure you clean everything. Grease up all the points. Make sure you clean your rotors. Make sure they're not all oily. Come on. Yeah, and then most of all, Safety first.